Woman marries a janitor no one wanted, her parents disapprove of their marriage. As Sylvia emerged from her car in a stunning white gown on her wedding day, she gazed at the church's parking lot and turned to her sister, asking, "Do you recognize any of these fancy cars?" Her sister's response, with a shake of the head, left Sylvia perplexed. It struck her as odd since her soon-to-be husband wasn't wealthy, he actually worked as a janitor in their neighborhood. She was pretty certain he didn't have well-off friends or relatives. Shrugging off the thought, she mused to herself that those cars must belong to someone else. With the help of her bridesmaids, she made her way through the church's entrance. She lingered in the preparation room until her mother's voice called her out. "Time to go, Sylvia," her mother chimed. "Your father is ready to walk you down the aisle." By this point, Sylvia hadn't caught a glimpse of Rob, her groom. But as she took those steps down the aisle, hand in arm with her father, she found herself taken aback when she finally spotted him drawing closer to the altar. Sylvia's eyes wandered over the exquisite decorations within the church. She couldn't help but wonder how Rob managed to afford all of this splendor. As Sylvia finally arrived at the altar and her gaze met Rob's, a whirlwind of emotions swept over her. "Oh my goodness! I might actually pass out. This can't be real," she silently pondered, her heart racing. The man she'd always thought of as a janitor was now standing before her like a millionaire, dressed in designer attire and sporting expensive shoes. Just a year earlier, Sylvia had been strolling home from the grocery store, arms laden with supplies for the shelter where she volunteered. Kind-hearted and always ready to lend a hand, she extended her compassion to those around her, from feeding the homeless to tending to injured animals at the local shelter. On that particular day, while making her way home with groceries in tow, Sylvia cast a watchful eye around, on the lookout for someone in need. Her gaze fell upon a young man drenched in sweat, toiling away in the yard of a sizable house within her neighborhood. Since she wasn't familiar with him being around, Sylvia figured that he probably worked for the wealthy family living in that house. Seeing him toil so hard under the blazing sun stirred her emotions, compelling her to fetch a water bottle and a sandwich from her dispensable brown bag. "Here you go, sir. This is for you," she offered, extending the provisions with a warm smile. "For me? Oh, that's incredibly thoughtful of you," the man responded, genuine surprise lighting up his face. "I can only imagine how hungry you must be after putting in such hard work. Is this your first time taking care of yards in this neighborhood?" "I don't recall seeing you before," Sylvia inquired, her curiosity piqued. The man hesitated briefly before replying. "Well, you see." "Oh, don't worry about it. Just enjoy the sandwich. It's quite delicious," Sylvia interjected with a cheerful grin, her kindness flowing effortlessly. With a satisfied grin, the man unwrapped the sandwich and took a savory bite. "Wow! This is seriously delicious. The meat is incredibly juicy. Is this jamon iberico de bolota?" he inquired with genuine interest. Chuckling softly, Sylvia shook her head. "Nope, just a regular pepperoni sandwich from the grocery store, nothing too fancy." While the man savored his meal, Sylvia took the opportunity to introduce herself and strike up a conversation. "By the way, I'm Sylvia, and you?" "Rob," he replied, a warm smile lighting up his features. "It's been lovely meeting you, Rob," Sylvia beamed. "I hope we run into each other here again." As fate would have it, Sylvia and Rob's paths continued to cross outside that very same house in their neighborhood. Through these frequent encounters, they formed a genuine friendship that blossomed into something deeper after just 2 weeks since their initial encounter. Rob and Sylvia embarked on their first date. When he came to pick her up, she noticed he didn't arrive in a car. Instead, he stood there on foot and asked if she'd be comfortable walking with him to the nearby restaurant. Sylvia's response was filled with warmth. "No worries, Rob. I never specified a car for our date." She slipped her hand into his, and together they set off down the street toward the restaurant. As they strolled, Sylvia's curiosity got the better of her. "So, aside from work, what else do you enjoy doing?" she inquired, eager to know more about him. Rob's surprise at Sylvia's genuine curiosity about his hobbies was evident in his expression. "Honestly, no one has ever asked me that before. You're the first woman who has shown such interest in getting to know me on a deeper level," he remarked, a touch of amazement coloring his voice. Sylvia responded with a chuckle, her eyes dancing with playful incredulity. "Really, it's just a basic question." Following a delightful dinner that deepened their connection, Sylvia and Rob continued their leisurely walk along the street. Abruptly, Rob came to a stop, his grip on Sylvia's hand tightening. Puzzled, she turned to him. "What's going on?" With the heart full of courage, Rob sank down onto one knee and clasped Sylvia's hand tenderly. "Sylvia, will you marry me?" he asked, his eyes locking onto hers with unwavering sincerity. Her reaction was a mix of sheer astonishment and joy. "Rob." "Oh my goodness," Sylvia's hands instinctively flew to her face, a blend of shock and elation on full display. "Yes." As they embraced in a tight hug, Rob's voice held a hint of excitement. "You're in for quite a surprise, you know." Intrigued, Sylvia couldn't help but inquire, "What kind of surprise are we talking about here?" With an infectious laugh, Rob playfully teased, "That's a secret I'll reveal on the day we say I do." Sylvia's excitement about marrying Rob was infectious, and she couldn't wait to share the good news with her family and friends. However, she was shocked when she discovered that her parents didn't quite approve of her decision to marry a janitor. Their concerns centered around financial stability, which left Sylvia feeling disheartened. To her surprise, even some of her friends sided with her parents, echoing their doubts. Despite months of patiently explaining that her love for Rob transcended his job title and that his character and values were what truly mattered to her, she encountered resistance. It wasn't an easy journey, but Sylvia remained resolute. After heartfelt conversations, persistent explanations, and a display of unwavering commitment, Sylvia managed to sway their opinions slowly but surely. Her family and friends began to see the depth of her feelings for Rob and the genuine connection they shared. Eventually, they agreed to put their concerns aside and support Sylvia's choice. With a mixture of relief and joy, Sylvia welcomed her loved one's reluctant agreement to attend her wedding and bless her union with Rob. A while later, there stood Rob at the altar, while Sylvia's eyes remained wide with astonishment. All along, she had taken Rob for a janitor, yet the reality was that he was a millionaire. "I never really talked about my business because I wanted to be absolutely certain you were the one," Rob confessed. Sylvia's brow furrowed with curiosity. "What do you mean by that?" A tender smile graced Rob's lips as he explained. "You were the first person who truly appreciated me for who I am, not my money. It was your genuine interest in my character, values, and passions that stole my heart, Sylvia." He gently held her hand. "I had been searching for the right person, and when I met you, it felt like fate. I was pretty convinced you were the one I'd been hoping for." Leaning in a bit closer, Rob continued, "You know what's truly remarkable about you? You find happiness in the simplest of things without needing a fortune. Your joy comes from spending time with those less fortunate and caring for animals. Sylvia, you're the embodiment of the woman I've always dreamed of." And so, on that momentous day, Sylvia exchanged vows not with a janitor, but with a millionaire. As her parents and some of her unsupportive friends got to know how rich Rob is, they couldn't help but feel a deep sense of regret. Their faces betrayed a mix of humility and shame as they witnessed the wonderful person he was. Following the church service, they mustered the courage to approach Rob and Sylvia, driven by the need to make amends for their past skepticism. With heavy hearts, they offered their apologies, the weight of their misjudgments palpable in their words. "We hold nothing against you all," Rob and Sylvia said as they hugged them all in the midst of the festivities. Rob leaned in to whisper in Sylvia's ear, "Remember the surprise I mentioned?" Sylvia grinned, her curiosity rekindled. "Of course, how could I forget?" Rob's eyes twinkled mischievously as he revealed, "After this incredible journey, I've planned a honeymoon that will capture the essence of everything we cherish: simplicity, nature, and genuine experiences." Sylvia's heart swelled with warmth and gratitude, a silent acknowledgement of how Rob truly understood and valued her. "You never cease to amaze me," she whispered back, her eyes locked on his. Their grand celebration took place in one of the most lavish restaurants in town, an incredible turn of events that Sylvia could never have fathomed. It all stemmed from her genuine kindness that had unexpectedly transformed her life for the better. What do you think about this story? Leave a comment below this video. Thanks for watching. Show us some love with a like and subscribe.